What's going on, fellow backpackers? My name is Dan, and we are back in the Smoky Mountains. As usual, by we, I mean myself and my wife, Casey. And we are in the west side of the park this time, at the Abrams Creek Campground. And we're doing an overnight with me possibly doing a third day, second night. Although every time I try to do a 3-day trip in the Smokies, it always ends in knee pain, and I end up just doing an overnight. So instead of saying that I'm going to do a 3-day trip, I'm just going to say that we're doing an overnight with the faint possibility of turning into a 3-day trip. So we're doing a relatively easier trip this time. It's about 12.3 miles, I think it is, for today, and a total elevation gain for day one of about 2,000 feet, which most other trips we've done in the past here, as well as any other trips we were considering this time, are usually around 3,000 to 4,000 feet of elevation gain. So that's where the easier part comes in.
And an easy trail in the Smokies is a difficult trail in the Midwest.
That's true. It's all relative.
And hopefully with the thunderstorms potentially coming this evening, we'll be safer at lower elevation. Although we'll be terrified.
Anything else to add?
No, I'm good, thanks.
She's done. So last week I published a video about how to use your phone for making hiking videos, and in it I had a pretty long spiel about the need for dongles to use an external microphone. Well, guess what I forgot to bring with me on this trip? My dongle, rendering my external microphone completely useless. So if the audio quality on this trip is not as great as in past trips, then that's why. We're heading down the Cane Creek Trail now, and our plan is to take this to the park boundary, 2.1 miles away, and then head on back to continue our little loop. This one is kind of just padding some extra miles onto our trip, just to make it a little bit longer and get to that 12-ish mile mark. So we don't have to do it, but then again, I guess we don't have to do any of this, and yet here we are. For those of you concerned about my hydration well-being, you'll be pleased to know that I'm drinking a lot more water on this trip. See? Our last trip in Yellow River State Forest, I had my first bout with some severe dehydration. It was super hot, super humid, and I guess I just wasn't drinking enough water and maybe didn't have enough to eat, not enough electrolytes, because by the time we got back home on the second day, I actually ended up in the hospital for a very short stint to get some fluids. I was shaking and had the chills and feeling super nauseous and just totally out of whack. So she dragged me to the hospital,
Yep.
Kicking and screaming. I didn't want to go. But there's my wife looking out for me. Well, we didn't make it very far down Cane Creek Trail before we decided to turn around. As Casey put it, do you really want to climb back up this steep ridge that we're going down? No. So we're heading back to the last intersection, and we'll continue along the little loop trail that we've been doing. So that'll shave off about 4 miles from our trip. So we will get to camp a whole hell of a lot sooner. We're taking a break back at that intersection, having some lunch of peanut butter and banana sandwiches. Yummy, that I artfully prepared this morning. We typically don't do this on our hikes. We usually have a walking lunch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But, like I said, this is just the lazy trip today. See? Lazy. We're continuing on the Cooper's Road trail, and the rest of it now seems to be a bit narrower and a whole lot steeper. As usual, you probably can't really tell by the video, but I'm sure you can tell by my labored breathing. Whew. You know, you watch for bears, you watch for rattlesnakes, but you never watch out for the horses. Did that scare the crap out of you? We're on the Hatcher Mountain Trail right now, and we should be less than 2 miles away from the campsite. So, making pretty good time, especially since we, again, did not do that out and back trail, which looked more and more like such a great idea. Really glad we opted not to do that. Well done. Oh, good. Oh, ow. Ugh. We made it to campsite 17, and I gotta say, it's a nice one. It's really big. Let me show you around a bit. So I think we're gonna set up in this general area. There's a couple trees over here that I'll hang my hammock, and a lot of good flat spots for Casey. But it really goes all over the place. So there's this kind of big main area. Then there's at least one site back that way, another one back that way, one over there. There might be one up over there, and I could be missing one or two. So yeah, quite a spacious campsite. And it is very close to Abrams Creek. You can probably hear it in the background. It's not right on top of it, but there's Abrams Creek. Really nice water source. And that to me is just perfect. It's not like so roaring loud that you can't sleep, but you can still hear it in the background, so it's quite peaceful. So we're gonna start setting up. Casey's filtering some water right now. And let's see, it's 2:30, so we have a lot of time to relax. I know.
Wow.
2:30, yes. So, good thing we downloaded a documentary. Got the War Bonnet Blackbird hammock again with the Enlightened Equipment Revolt. This is a 40 degree. And for a top quilt, I have the quote-unquote Costco quilt. That should be plenty fine for tonight. And Casey, as usual, is in the Tarp Tent Pro Trail. And you know what? I'm going to take a moment to talk more about this Tarp Tent Pro Trail. So this was my very first backpacking tent, but Casey has been using it ever since I switched to hammock camping. And I got to say, I really, really like it. It's extremely spacious for a one-person tent. We have had many times where we have both slept inside of this thing. So it's quite amazing space-wise. Holds up really well with rain and wind. And the one thing that I don't like about it is the fact that since it's an A-frame style tent, you have to, you know, kind of pivot whenever you want to get out of it. So, you know, you sit up and then you have to turn 180 degrees around just to get out of it. So it's a little bit more difficult to do as opposed to something where there's like a door on the side of the tent. So that's my only complaint, but that's really just the overall design aspect of an A-frame style tent. The actual tent itself is pretty damn good. I really, really like it. And I think Casey's been happy with it too. Have you been happy with it? Yeah. Thumbs up. I have the tarp all staked out, and I'm testing out the doors and seeing how well they cover, because like I said, we might get rain tonight, and so far I have not yet actually used this thing in rain. So I just wanted to see how well the doors fit with how I have it staked out, and they look pretty good. Nothing to do now but relax. Spending some quality relaxation time at the creek. This is really different than our normal routine of getting to camp at 8 o'clock at night and scrambling to set everything up and having no time to chill out. We found a friendly, humongous spider. I don't know if you can see it. It's like the body of it is right there. See that little thing? I'm telling you though, it's like 4 or 5 inches across. So I was totally pointing to the wrong thing. The enormous spider is right, where's my finger? Right there. Maybe you'll catch it crawling around. It was chomping down and I think like a little minnow or something. So I think it grabbed something out of the water. Whew. Don't want that thing in your bed at night. So lately I've been using this little coupler that you can get from Sawyer to just do a simple gravity system when I'm just too lazy to squeeze the water through myself. And it's not super fast flowing, but for just being able to hang it up and not do anything, it is good enough. And you can also then use this to back flush the filter by just squeezing the clean water through the bottle. But be sure you don't have the bottle screwed on all the way so you can let the air escape out of the bottle as the water is filling it back up.
So while I know that the blue M&Ms taste probably just as good as the other M&Ms, I'm not going to find out because I find them deeply suspicious and will not eat them.
You know that line of thinking is something that a 5-year-old has, right?
Well, I think I was probably like 7 when they started making blue M&Ms, and so I just stuck with that mentality.
And it was a glorious day when they made that decision.
Oh.
Because blue M&Ms are the best.
Oh, sweetheart. We have found an issue that we cannot reconcile on.
All right, I'll call the divorce lawyer when we get home. But even better than peanut M&Ms, it is time once again for bacon jerky. The only reason that I actually go backpacking is right here in this nice, salty, fatty snack. Oh. Wow. There's just nothing wrong with that.
Thank you. Yep. Definitely better than M&Ms.
Not quite the blissful reaction that I have, but it'll do. Man, I know I've said before that I'm not really big on sponsorships, but Jack Link should totally sponsor my videos. They're not. They don't. I always buy these things with my own money, but I am doing the Jack Link's brand such a huge service, don't you think?
Oh, yes. But I feel like Jack Link's would sponsor somebody with a lot of body hair. Like, a lot, only.
I have a lot of body hair. Want to see?
I immediately pictured the bear as an old man sitting in a bark laundry.
Yep. All right, well, we are settled into Casey's tent for now. We are about to watch our usual documentary before bed. And tonight we have something about someone who got into some sort of an accident and became a mountain climber, right?
You should not write the synopsis to videos on Netflix.
Yeah, clearly. I'm not going to be a copywriter for IMDb.
It's a survival of the Into Thin Air accident on Mount Everest. And how he got back to mountaineering, I believe.
Cool. So that should be interesting. Then we will doze off and we will see you in the morning. Good morning. Oh, well, I gotta say, it took absolutely forever to fall asleep last night. And I know Casey did not get a good night's sleep either. But despite that, I'm feeling pretty conflicted about whether or not I want to do a second night. I don't know, on one hand, it would be really nice to be out here for another day and another night. But I don't know, on the other hand, like I was saying yesterday, I'm just feeling kind of lazy and not 100% in the mood for it. So, we'll see. Well, seeing as I pretty much ate all my food for the next 2 days, I think I've made my decision about what I'm going to do. Yeah, I'm gonna go back to the car today. Although, I don't know about you, I would like to try for Abrams Falls. What do you think?
If Cades Cove is open yet or not.
Well, probably. But if we see a bunch of crowds there, we could just run away.
That would make a memorable vacation for them. Remember those weirdos in the woods that ran away from us when we saw them?
So, I don't know. We'll see how well I can convince Casey to go to Abrams Falls today.
Change my mind.
Brilliant!
Why do you like this?
Casey's trying the hammock for the first time. So, here. It's not going so well.
Why do you enjoy this? Very bizarre.
Well, I don't exactly get in the way you did. We're heading out. We did decide to go to Abrams Falls, so hopefully we'll actually make it and not turn around before we get there, but we'll see. So we're all packed up. Campsite is ready to be left. This was a nice one.
Yeah.
What'd you think?
It was big, yeah. It was nice.
It was beautiful. Wow.
Clean.
Oh, all right. Onward. Well, as pretty as this creek is, I'm quite glad that we're not having to cross this today. This is on the start of the Hannah Mountain Trail. So if you're starting this trail, be ready to get your feet wet. So we did not get even a drop of rain last night. There wasn't even any condensation on the tent and tarp. So all of our gear is bone dry. And as terrified as I am of lightning, which I have mentioned in many of my past videos, so I'm glad there was not a thunderstorm, I'm a little disappointed because I really wanted to again try out that tarp finally in the rain. But I'm sure I will eventually get my chance to do so. just keep hiking enough and eventually it's gonna rain. Well, we made it to Abrams Falls, and since it's now almost 11 o'clock, it is packed. So we took some nice shots, took some nice videos, and now we're getting the hell out of here and going back to the car. We're back on the Little Bottoms Trail now, heading back to where we stayed last night. And then should be another couple miles back to the car. And what a gorgeous couple of days. My goodness. Wow. I really thought it was going to rain last night and thought it was going to be hotter too than it has been. It's, what is it now? 81 right now. It's noon. So, yeah. Temperature-wise, it has been very, very pleasant. Well, we're taking a little break at our campsite again. And I'm doing a whole lot better this time drinking water. I am very proud of myself. And before we left for this trip at home, I had tried to make these little homemade like energy electrolyte gels. Just very simple, using 50-50 honey and molasses and a little pinch of salt. But my God, was it disgusting, right? It was Oh, it was horrendous. Wow. Molasses is so gross. So I thought maybe I just used too much molasses or too much salt. So I tried like 2/3 honey and 1/3 molasses and even less salt. But no, it was still gross. And I think you're supposed to maybe like mix it with water or something to dilute it. But I am not going to put that crap in my perfectly good water bottle. After that nice, pleasant section by the creek, the Little Bottoms Trail really starts to rise rapidly. Oh, we are out of breath. Break time. Well, we are just about back to the car, and I gotta say, I had a good time on this trip, despite the fact that yesterday, not sure if it was evident enough, but we were not having fun. Despite the fact that I always end all my videos with "have fun out there," and I mean it. Sometimes we forget to do that ourselves. So it's nice to just stick with it and try to stop and remind yourself that occasionally you need to just start having some fun while you're hiking. But thank you for watching. Stick around for some bloopers as usual. And like I said, have fun out there. Our plan is to take this. Why do I repeat things that are so obvious? Peanut butter and bananas.
Take two. It's the size of a Buick.
What the hell am I saying? Typically a pretty slow process that isn't moving at all right now. That would have sucked.
So while I know
Wait.
the
Okay.
So while I
Wait. Now I'm just screwing with you.
So while I I know that the... Can't do it now.
How was your poop? Whoa. Jeez. Humbug. I'll shut up now.